Hello everyone and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I am Nancy, and in this short video I want to introduce you to one of what I think is my easiest and most favorite gardening hacks, and it is a hanging basket drip pan. Now, this is one kind. On this one it says 10-inch clear hanging saucer. This is a 12-inch. So what I want to show you first of all is how I use these. I use these for my Boston ferns. My house, the front of my house faces north, and it's a white house with a green roof, so I like to keep it fairly simple up front, and I usually have at least 6, sometimes more, Boston ferns hanging for the summer. Now we're in zone 7. These do not overwinter here, so I have been able to put them up if I have a place for them that I know I can heat and I know I can keep them watered, then I can. But sometimes they're just so big by the end of the season, I really don't have anywhere to put them. I did try to overwinter some this year in my greenhouse, and I was doing fine until we had that 10 days of just Arctic blast, and the heater really couldn't keep up in the greenhouse, and so the Boston ferns didn't make it. So this is, like I said, it's called a hanging basket drip pan or saucer. So basically what it does, it goes underneath your hanging plants. There's 4 little plastic hooks right here, and this is what you hang on the pot. You don't remove your plant from the original pot. This goes on outside of your pot. Now, for the Boston ferns, they like a lot of water, and I fertilize mine with something so simple, plain Epsom salt. I have probably had this bag, I don't know, probably going on 2 to 3 years. But the way that I use mine, I take about a tablespoon of Epsom salt in a gallon of water. I shake it up good, and then depending on where my plant is, if it is a hanging fern such as, let's see, this one, this still has the hanger on it, then I will just pull the plant aside and pour the water down in it like this right here. Are you able to see the saucer? I hope the camera's picking that up. Let me scoot it over. So this would be hanging up, and then I would just take the water and pour it right in there. And what I do is I fill my hanging baskets up, and there's several things that will determine how much you need to water your plants. Now, like I said, ferns, they're north facing and they're in shade. Now, I do have some that sort of go on the east side of my house, so that gets a little bit more sun. That's actually in the gazebo up front. So what I do is I rotate the Boston ferns every other day. So there's 2 on the east side, 2 on the north side, and because if I try to keep them on the east side, they don't do as well. So anytime your temperatures are above 80 or 85 degrees, you're probably going to have to water, especially anything that you have in a pot or container. The soil is just going to dry out faster. So you watch your temperatures, and like I said, you know, when you're getting especially past 85, you may have to water twice a day. That's not, you know, that's totally not uncommon for us. And just like you see the wind is blowing today, if the wind is blowing, it is going to dry out your soil faster. So placement, the outside temperature, and how windy it is all determines how much you're going to need to water everything, really, even things in the ground. If it's going to, even the ground is going to dry out, raised beds, everything is going to dry out faster if it's hot or windy in high temperatures. So just keep those things in mind. But I wanted to go over how I put these on, and I will show you this one. When I bought this plant, I went and bought these, this is pretty standard. The 10-inch drip trays are pretty standard. You can find those, I can find mine at Lowe's. I can often find them at the Dollar General stores, the 10-inch. So as you can see, this did not fit. This hanging basket did not fit. And let me find, oh, I changed it out. Okay, so I had changed out the saucer. But this is what I originally tried to fit it in. So let me put this back on it. Now this one has 3 hooks, and this is how the hooks look. This is a little bit different. So you sort of have to uncurl those, and this is going to come up and it's going to hang on the side of your pot. This particular hanging pot had 3. So, and you can tell I had used the Epsom salt because you can see the evidence of the salt in there. So this is what I tried to do at first, okay? So this was how it looked. Let me get this around. Now you can see this clip is short of coming up to that pot. It is not going to grab on to your pot. So this is too small of a hanging drip pan for this container. So what I did, I went on Amazon, and the ones that I'm showing you now, I ordered these. I believe the ones I bought at Lowe's were maybe about $2.58. So these from Amazon, they were 10 for $26. Now, look at the difference in the hooks. See how this is going to go right over the pot. So we'll do it together. I'll put this in the pot and show you. And the way I found out to get them to stay on easier, I do opposite sides. So I'm doing one here and then the opposite side. And all you do is take your hook. You're going to get this little lid right inside your pot. And when you hang up your pot, it's going to obviously put pressure, and you can stick them down in there. It depends on how compacted your soil is. But the idea is that you get all 4 or all 3 of your hooks on. Then, when you are actually using your container, this is how it looks. And move this. I know it's a clear container, so it's hard to see, but there is the hook that is in the pot. It's just simply hooked on the pot. And yeah, it stays. I mean, occasionally you may have one that comes undone, but you know, I always, when I water mine, I always check and make sure that that everything is where it needs to be. Now, another question that I saw a lot, I have a Facebook page. It's called Kentucky Garden Gal, and I will put the link in the first comment, and I'll also put the link to these, to the 12-inch hanging pots. But I have a Facebook page, and I try to be very interactive with that page, and it is It's just a great, great gardening community, and oftentimes when I post pictures or whatever, I get a lot of questions. So that's actually the reason that I wanted to make this video. I try to keep things just as simple as I can, but then sometimes people do have questions, and I'm always, always happy to answer your questions. So, there were 3 questions, well actually 4. I've already explained how you would determine how much you would need to water your plants. Okay, another question that I saw a lot was, do you water from the top, which would be like this, or do you water from the drip tray? And the answer is whichever one works for you. When these are hanging up, it is easier for me just to pour the water in the drip tray. Now, these actually sit on my front porch in the saucer that you saw I had them in, so I just water these from the top. Now, you can see these plants, one's been watered from the bottom, this one's been watered from the top. I really can't tell a difference. I don't think it makes a difference, just so you are getting your plants watered. Now, another thing that ferns love is to be misted, and it's one thing that as a gardener, you know, I love to do, but let's be realistic. How many of you really have time to mist your plants? I just don't, but it's a great job for my son. And if you've been watching the channel, you know that Cameron has Down syndrome, and he's 18 now, but that is a great job for him to get out and I'll say go mist the ferns. And so he takes the water bottle, and he has to, you know, he's using occupational therapy by doing it, plus he's caring for plants. And this is it would be a great way to get your children or grandchildren, young children, involved, is to give them a water bottle and say, hey, go mist the plants. So that's another question that I saw a lot. Now, the last question that I'm going to answer, and then we'll wrap up this video, is actually, let me see where I put it. It was about the Epsom salt. It's over here. So if you go on my page and you look at this thread, you're going to see a lot. Like I said, these were all good questions, and then you're going to see a lot of comments in different ways that people use Epsom salt. And you know, you just sort of get into the habit of things, and it's like, this is just routine. I've been doing this for 30 years. I buy ferns, I buy the hanging trays, I use Epsom salt. It's just one of those things that for me, it's almost automatic. Now, I learned several years ago that magnolia trees love Epsom salt around the canopy. So when I know it's going to rain, I try to do it 2 or 3 times a year, and I will take the Epsom salt out and sprinkle it around the canopy, which is, you go under the tree, and however far out the branches come, that section back to the tree is called the canopy. So that area is your canopy. Well, there was several people that chimed in and said, oh, you know, I use Epsom salt for my tomatoes. I use Epsom salt for my fruit trees. And you know, all these years, I had never, it's right here. Y'all, it's literally right there in black and white, and I had never seen it. But on the back of the Epsom salt bag, it tells you exactly how to use it for tomato and roses, lawns, evergreen azaleas, rhododendrons, trees, garden startup, and houseplants. It can't get any easier. So, and you know, I think most people use Epsom salt like for soaking when they're achy. They'll put it in their bath. But yes, so this is a really great. It's a frugal. It's very inexpensive and easy to use, simple to use. Instructions are right on the back. It tells you how much. So that is my gardening hack with my ferns. I hope so much that this has helped you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. and I appreciate every single person that is part of the gardening community, either on YouTube or on Facebook. And like I said, we just have so much fun. We're learning together, and I don't ever want anybody to say, this is a dumb question, but there is no dumb question. Every day I learn something new with gardening, and those who know me know I say all the time, I will die not knowing all there is to know about gardening, because it's just so much, you know, which is wonderful. You're always learning, you're always growing, and it just makes it fun. So I hope that this video has helped you. I hope that if you have hanging plants, and also something that I forgot, when you have these hanging baskets under your hanging plants, you don't make a mess. Like on the gazebo, I don't want the water to run down on the sides. It's because it's painted, so obviously I don't want that, you know, to get wet. I know it rains on it, but you know, I just don't want to intentionally put water if it doesn't need to be. And of course, on my front porch, these sit in planters, and so I don't really want the, you know, water running off onto the floor there of the front porch. So yeah, it also will help to protect the area under your plant. So anyways, I know I've been chatty. I promised you a short video, but like I said, I appreciate all of you, and I will see you in the next video.